Hello, welcome to the seventh model of the catfish farming course. In this model, we'll be addressing harvesting techniques for catfish. By the end, you would have identified the signs to know that your catfish are matured and know when to harvest. You would also have learned the method and tools for safe harvesting, and you will learn about post-harvest handling and storage to maintain the quality of your catfish. What are the physical signs to show that your fish is ready for harvest? See, physical signs are very integral, right? And harvesting at the right time maximizes your fish quality and market value. If you don't harvest early, you lose money. If you don't harvest early, you lose money. If you delay the harvest, you are spending more money on the fish. If you delay the harvest, you have overgrown fish that are stressed and you've wasted resource and the market cannot buy for the resource that you have spent on it. And that is why it is important that you timely harvest your catfish. Okay, so what's the importance of timely harvesting of catfish? The importance of timely harvesting of catfish is that it saves you a lot of money. Now, at what point do you know that a catfish is ready for harvest? When the size is between like 0.5 to 1.5 kg, especially if you're selling to people who are processing or you're selling to people who are eating the catfish in its fresh form. The fresh form guys would prefer it to be lot above 1 kg, and for people who are into processing, they like to do between 0.1 to 1.5 kg depending on your target customer. Next thing, you know that your catfish is ready for harvest when it has a well-fed body shape. A well-fed body shape that does not look slim and skeletal. Regular measurement is another way you can track your fish growth regularly. Another way you can observe this maturity is mature catfish may show decreased interest in food. The more they become bigger, you know they eat less, then you know that your fish is ready for harvest. When you now notice that they are always visible at the water surface or actively around feeding times, right? They are very actively swimming. They are ready for harvest, especially when they are big in size. Another thing I want you to note is that you have to combine behavioral activities and physical indicators to accurately know that your catfish is matured and ready for harvest. Now, key factors you need to consider in your harvesting decision: what is the market demanding for? Is the market demanding for 0.5 kg or is the market demanding for 1.5 kg or 2 kg? Monitor the growth against the target size that the market is asking for. Also look at the environmental condition, because environmental condition is something that will also affect your fish size. So harvesting your fish in a point where the environment is not friendly for them is also not a healthy way to do. Our advice: align your harvest with market trend all of the time for better pricing. Why should you have a proper harvesting technique? A proper harvesting technique ensures that your catfish is not stressed at the point of harvest and do not sustain any form of injury. And a proper techniques also help you preserve the fish quality so that your market value and the shelf life of your fish is more sustainable. Another thing you need to know is that there are various methods of harvesting catfish by hand. You can either use your seine net, so you drag it across the pond and gather all of the fish within the net, or use a hand net which you just put in tank or smaller pond to do selective harvest. This is if you want to harvest a particular kind of catfish, or you run a system where you do the whole point and kill system, then the hand net works for you. The last part is about draining and harvesting. So this is either you are partially draining your pond or fully draining your pond. This works when you are trying to sell off your catfish in bulk, or you are selling all of the catfish in your pond per time. I always advise use net if you're not selling off all of your catfish, right? Except the harvest day happens on the day where you are supposed to change the water of your fish. Now, there are harvesting tools you can also work with. Grading machine. Grading machine helps you to sort these fish according to size. If you are running a very big catfish farm, you need to have a grading machine. Pump. Pump will help you transport your fish from the pond to a holding container. So pumps helps to do all of that. And then we have automatic net. This is for very big farms, extremely big farms. And tips: please choose a method based on your farm scale, your budget and your fish volume. If you don't have so much fish, You can try the pump and the grading. If you run a very big farm, make sure you have an automatic net to ease the process. You need to also have harvest nets, and they are usually strong and gentle nets that people use to reduce injuries. Like we can see in the picture, someone using a basket to harvest his fish. You can also use holding containers. You can use them to temporarily store your fish during sorting. And then there are things we call the transportation boxes. Transportation boxes are proper containers for moving fish after you have harvested them from the water. A quick advice again, clean and maintain all of these tools for hygiene and efficiency. Don't forget that at every stage of a catfish, e still has the tendency to have disease or be infected. So keep it clean so that you don't have to deal with disease at the point of harvest or after harvest. What are the importance of post-harvest practices? A proper handling of dis fish always maintain the quality. Mishandling can cause dem to have bruise and stress, and once they are stressed and their energy is low, your customers may begin to think dat your fish is about to die or your fish is sick and they want to price you lower. What are the first initial step for your post harvest? You want to do the cleaning of your catfish, remove all of the mud and debris, especially if you do an earthen pond system. Then you begin to sort them according to their fish size and quality. Then you begin to inspect for injuries or signs of illness. Those that have illness, you move them aside. Those that have injuries, move them aside. The sorting of fish before packaging ensures that one uniformity, right? And it helps for your buyer satisfaction. The buyer knows that when they come to your farm to buy fish, they buy a certain size of fish and they are sure that that size that they have requested for is the size that they will always get. They always come back to you, because we now live in a world where a lot of people try not to be very sincere. So sincerity is keeping up to uniformity of your catfish at the point of buyer's purchase, especially as they have requested. Now there are various ways you can pack your catfish. So there's plastic bags, you can use crate and boxes for people who are buying bigger quantity, and then you can use ice pack. So this part of ice pack is you using ice, they call them ice blocks here in Nigeria. You put them with the fish so that the fish can stay cool all through the transporting system. Something that we have not seen so well in the fish space is people branding their packaging. So when you package your fish and you use small batches, bags and crates, please put the weight so that it's easy for whoever that is buying it to know that this is the weight of the fish they are buying. That way you solve them the problem of having to reweigh this fish when they get to their location. An additional advice, label the packages with the weight, the grade and the date to which it was harvested to help with quality tracking. How do you now preserve fish quality with cold storage? You can use refrigeration, especially if you are trying to go into frozen catfish, right? Um you can also use refrigeration if you want to keep it fresh for a certain period of time, but this is usually a very few days. I would say maximum 24 hours to 3 days. At worst case scenario 5 days. Please do not keep it up to a week. If it's going to last up to a week, go through the freezing method. With the freezing method, you extend the shelf life for several months. And then there's what we call the blast freezing. So blast freezing ensures that we keep the texture and the freshness of the fish. As a tip, maintain a cold chain from your harvest to market. Dat way you don't have issues of your fish dying on the road, in the bus or in any form of way you are trying to move your fish. Another thing you need to check is temperature control. Remember that fish are very critical to temperature, so you want to ensure that the temperature of the place is cold all throughout the transit so that your fish will not die. Then avoid excess movement that will bruise your fish. So you want to ensure that you are not stocking too many fish inside the packaging container such that they begin to bruise themselves, or someone now has to be moving them and carrying them around when they are still trying to get them to the market. Lastly, if you are transporting your live fish, ensure there's adequate oxygen in the container, and that is why every fish farmer who is serious about selling fresh fish should have aeration system. I always advise, plan your transportation carefully so dat you can avoid spoilage. Transportation is one way a lot of fresh catfish business owners lose money. Customers feedback is also very critical for you. So encourage your customer to give you feedback on the quality of the fish after you have sold it. Address any quality issues that they have. Oh, the fish eye is blue. Why is it blue? Oh, the fish is white. Is that an albino fish? Oh, the fins are weak. They were broken. What was the cause? You want to answer all of those questions. You also want to use this feedback to improve your harvesting and handling skills, especially your storage technique, especially for people who sell stored catfish, frozen or blast frozen. As a tip, keeping your customer satisfied help to build loyal market. So make sure for every time your customer give you feedback, you prioritize it and implement it in your business. As a recap, in this model we discuss the maturity signs that use and know that this fish is ready for harvest. We also discuss the same way you can harvest this fish and the essential tools that you need to harvest this fish. Lastly, we discussed post harvest storage practices. How do you store, how do you pack, how do you clean, how do you grade, and lastly we just spoke about how to transport fish. This is the end of this model, and an activity for you is mention 3 things you need to have for a successful harvesting, and let me know in the comment section if you have seen anything like the machine that is used to scale fish and differentiate fish according to size. Thank you very much and see you in the next module.